Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. So very quick recap from last week. قالوا تالله تفتأ تذكر يوسف حتى تكون حرضا أو تكون من الهالكين. There were some people inside of the home that were speaking to Yaqub alayhi salam. Most likely the people in the home, and not the brothers, because in the previous ayah, وَتَوَلَّ عَنْهُمْ, he turned away from them. So they said, you're going to destroy yourself until your body and your mind fully deteriorate, or you're just going to end up killing yourself. قَالَ إِنَّمَا أَشْكُ بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I only complain about the worst types of stressors and things that make me sad, to the point that I'm about to explode, and وَحُزْنِي, and the lesser, even the lesser stressors, even the lesser things that make me anxious or sad. إِلَى اللَّهِ, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. And I know from Allah that which you don't know. Then he finally goes back to his kids, and he says, فَتَحَسَّسُوا مِن يُوسُفَ وَأَخِي. Go and search for Yusuf and his brother. But when he says فَتَحَسَّسُوا, use your hiss, use your senses to go and find Yusuf and his brother. وَلَا تَيْأَسُوا مِن رَوْحِ اللَّهِ. Do not despair in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّهُ لَا يَيْأَسُ مِن رَوْحِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. No one despairs in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except that they are kafir, except that they are disbelievers. And we talked about why. Why was that? You have to have hope in Allah. Why? Good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has control over everything. Allah has control over everything. So if we believe this, then you also cannot despair in anything. Because if you despair, then you believe that Allah doesn't have the power to give you what you want. Okay. It's taking you a long time to load. All right, we'll start off with here. The file is gotten so big of my notes, because now we're on ayah 87, that it's taking a long time for it to load the bottom of the pages. All right, here, Bismillah. 87. Okay. All right. So now, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فلما دخلوا عليه قالوا يا أيها العزيز مسنا وأهلنا الضر وجئنا ببضاعة مزجاة فأوف لنا الكيل وتصدق علينا إن الله يجزي المتصدقين. All right. So now, this is the climax of the story. Okay? Everything that we've been working towards for the last 5 months comes to this point. And we let's take a quick step back just to give a very quick summary of what happened to Yusuf alayhi salam throughout this entire time. He saw a dream, and he was favored by his father even before that that's what his other brothers perceived. They thought that Yusuf alayhi salam was more beloved. So as a result, they got jealous of him. And then when he finally saw the dream, maybe a word spread, they came to find out in some way. So they decided to harm him. Someone said kill him, someone said throw him in a well, and then they ended up throwing him in a well. When he was down there, he was all alone and by himself. And then he was sold into slavery. When he was sold into slavery, he was taken all the way to Egypt, and he was threatened, if you say anything on the way there, then we'll kill you. So he didn't say anything. He got to Egypt. Once he was there, he was sold into slavery. But someone bought him and said, akrimi mathwah, make his position here respectable. Then he stayed with them for a long time as their slave. And then what happened? Years and years and years went by, and the wife of the one who bought him tried to seduce him. So he saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's signs and he ran. He saw Allah had given him knowledge about how this is haram and what the negative consequences are, so he ran away. He got caught, or they got caught, because the Sayyid opened the door. The Aziz at that time opened the door and saw them. But then Yusuf alayhi salam was exonerated. But imagine the stress of all of that time of having to defend himself. Then some more time went, and then the wife continued her assault on Yusuf alayhi salam. How? She turned him into an object of something that's just looked at. But why did she do that? To defend herself in front of all of the gossip. Because all of the women in the city were talking about how she was after her slave boy. So she brought everyone, had them sit down, and then they ended up cutting their hands when they saw Yusuf alayhi salam. Then, as a result, what happened? The Aziz, he got fed up with the gossip. He said, Yusuf, we're going to throw you in jail. So he got thrown in jail. He was there for about 7 years. During that time, he was in prison, but he had a little bit of ease. What was that ease? People would come to him because they saw him as a good person. Then he would interpret their dreams. He would tell them what was going to happen. Then he told one person, go and talk about me to the king. But he forgot. Shaitan made him forget. Then 5 more years he stayed inside the jail. 5 more years. So 12 years total. Then he interpreted the dream again because he got a second chance. He went out to the king, but he was not gonna come out to the king until he cleared his name. So the king finally cleared his name, and Yusuf alayhi salam came out. But still, 1 more year would go until the king would make him the Aziz over the food stuff of Egypt, over let's say the Ministry of Food and Finance. Then fast forward 7 years of good times, they go away. And then the hard times start. 7 years of hardship. In those 7 years, in the first year or the second year of the 7 years of hardship, the brothers come from Palestine all the way up to Egypt. They arrive, Yusuf alayhi salam recognizes them, and he has a back and forth. The first time, imagine now Yusuf alayhi salam, 10 people are in front of him. 10 people. These are the brothers that all threw him into the well. They are coming, almost begging him. But he held everything inside. He had a conversation with them. Even at this time, it was said that you are the one who gives the best housing. Right? You are the one who takes care of us in the best possible way, since we are guests, and you are the host. Despite everything that they did. Then he brings it up in some way that they have more family at home. So he has to think of a way, I need to get the other brother to come. So he said, I will give you even more if you bring the 11th brother, who is his full brother, Binyamin. They go all the way home. Yusuf alayhi salam loses all of the money because he has to give it back to them. He wants them to find it. But he is not the king. He is the minister, and he loses. He's losing. What I mean by losing, like he didn't leave it somewhere, but it was a financial loss of 12 full bags of money, and because he gave it back to them. They went all the way home, and then they came all the way back with Binyamin. And then again he had to do something. And imagine Yusuf's love inside of his heart for his family. He had to do something to make sure Binyamin stayed and that the whole family would come. So he devised a plan, and he stressed his own brother Binyamin out, and then everyone else out, and even his dad, because he told the brothers, all of you go back and tell your father that your son stole. All of this happens. They go all the way back, and then they talk to Yusuf they talk to Yaqub alayhi salam, and he finally says, go and look for Yusuf and his brother. And now we're here. All of this journey. And Imam Razi says it happens between 40 and 80 years of life. Decades go by between the time that Yusuf alayhi salam is known to his family. Decades. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ. So what happens in the last? Go to the city. Go to the city. And then there's a time lapse. It jumps all the way to when they actually enter Egypt. I think we'll talk about next time when after they leave again, how long it takes. Imam Razi brings in a few different narrations, a few different opinions. Some say it takes 2 months, 80 days of travel between Egypt and Palestine at that time. So imagine all of this time. So Allah just skips those 2 months. Now they're entering into the city. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الضُّرُّ. Okay. Here's question number 1. Okay. What did Yaqub say to his sons? What did he tell them to do? Go look for Yusuf and his brother. What are they doing? They go straight to the king, the minister. They don't know it's Yusuf, but they go straight to him. يا أيها العزيز مسنا وأهلنا الضر وجئنا ببضاعة مزجة. So give us more food. We'll talk about what those words mean. But their dad sent them on a mission to go find Yusuf and Binyamin. And the first thing that they did was they went back to the Aziz to ask for food. Why? It's a long journey. Okay, maybe. They want to also get their food. No, they have no inclination. We'll see this in the next ayah. This is why I give the whole summary, because it's in the next ayah. Is it still great? Is it still greed? No. No, it doesn't look like there's any greed left now. مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الضُّرُّ. Think about the question. And then we'll come back. So this is one aspect of it. They're doing this because there's different ways of doing investigation. There's a different ways of doing investigation. First thing that they're doing is they go into the new city, they make themselves known that they're back, and then they can go out and look for stuff. So there's no need to say that they have bad intentions, right, like greed or anything like that. But this is what they thought was the best course of action. They went to the king. We'll talk the Aziz, and we'll talk about the meanings of these words. In English, then, when they came into his court, they said, Your Highness, Ya Ayyuhal Aziz, hardship has struck us and our families too. And here we are with a meager offering, but please give us the full amount and be charitable to us. For Allah certainly repays the charitable. So there are reports that say, when they said, Massana wa ahlana ad-dur, Yusuf alayhi salam's eyes started to water. It's very important to remember the entire time Yusuf alayhi salam is being so careful because he loves his family. He cares about them so much. He knows because of that dream from before that they're all going to be reunited. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. So when they said Massana wa ahlana ad-dur, we and our families have suffered hardship. Then it's reported that Yusuf alayhi salam he started to tear up as a result, because his family had to suffer during this time. And now there's a little bit more as well. It's very interesting. Imam Razi he brings this one narration, but we don't know its authenticity. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if anything like this happened or if it's made up. But there's some very interesting part of it. When these brothers got back to Egypt, they brought a letter from Yaqub. And Yaqub said in this letter, from Yaqub, the Israel of Allah. I am the son of Ishaq, who is the Dhabihullah. Does that make sense? Dhabihullah. Who's Dhabihullah? That's Khalilullah. Dhabihullah. Who's Dhabihullah? Ismail? No. Ismail. Yeah. Ismail. So what did he say? Ishaq, the son of? Ishaq, Dhabihullah. Does that mean the narration is wrong? We won't spend too much time on it. This is a very, very interesting thing to think about. But they're brothers. Yeah, but Dhabihullah is the one who Ibrahim was going to slaughter his neck and the sheep came in the way. Sorry? Inauthentic. Here's a very interesting point. Christians and the Jews, they say that Dhabihullah is Ishaq. They say that Dhabihullah is Ishaq. Up until about the 5th century, most of the Mufassirin also said Ishaq was the Dhabihullah. It was after the 5th century from Imam Zamakhshari where it changed into people believing it was Ismail. But there's more evidence to suggest that it was Ismail. Like the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ana ibnu Dhabihain, or the Dhabihain. I think Dhabihain. I am the son of the two slaughters. Who are the two? Ismail, who's the father of the Arabs, or of their tribe, and the second is his father, Abdullah. Our Prophet ﷺ's father, Abdullah, he was also murdered. He was murdered before he was born. So he says, I am the son of the two slaughters. So that's that, and then there's some indication in the Quran, because the Quran never explicitly says who was slaughtered. It just says that when فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ السَّعْيُ, but it doesn't say anyone's name for the ayah. It's very interesting. Anyway, we don't want to waste too much time on that. What was I talking about? Yes. Okay. So he says Ishaq, the sacrifice of Allah, the Dhabihullah, and Ibrahim, the friend of Allah, Khalilullah. And he says that we are in this. I'll just quickly say it for you, summarize it for you. He says we are a family who have been plagued with difficulties. Okay, my grandfather Ibrahim was thrown into the fire, and it was said, "Kuni barda wa salaman ala Ibrahim." Be cool and peaceful for Ibrahim. Then Yaqub alayhi salam, he says, was slaughtered, and then I myself lost my son, Yusuf, and then I had to endure the loss of Binyamin. And he says, going through all the way until the end of it, he says, we are a very noble family. We are a family who do not steal, nor do we give birth to thieves. So return him to me. Otherwise, I will make dua against you with a prayer that will affect 7 generations of your progeny. 7 generations. You, your son, his son, his son, his son, his son, his son. 7 generations. Yaqub alayhi salam said this to the Aziz. But like I said, there's it's something that's not clear. We don't know if this actually happened, but that is a very, very clear threat. I will make dua against you and 7 generations of your family. Okay. مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الضُّرُّ. Then they say, وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاةٍ. We have come, and here we are with a meager offering. We have come, وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاةٍ. Now, muzjat is the next word we're going to talk about. It's very, very interesting. The word itself comes from pushing something away. Okay? Muzjat means something that you push away. What are they saying in this? They're saying we have only some money. Very, very, like, we're poor now. We've come here twice already. We've brought money. We don't have anything left. Muzjat is something that is considered what you push away. So that is from the asl of the word. Now, when you put it in this as, there are different opinions on what musjah in this way means, and it's such a, it adds so much more meaning to this ayah than just what the word meager could mean, or in any other way that we can understand it. So the first is, it means, in the same concept of pushing away, it means to hold back what time does, to hold back the effect of time. So it means that we have brought this bida'ah, we have brought all of these goods which are enough for us to survive on, but nothing more. So we have, let's say this is money. I have these coins, and I have nothing else left other than this. And if I was to lose this, then I would have nothing left to survive with. This is one understanding, one meaning of the word. Another meaning of musjat is for something to be of low quality. Something to be low quality. So in that time, it's not like they had dollar bills and every single $100 bill is the exact same value. They had gold coins, right? And the gold was weighed, but not just weighed. It was also how much of it is pure gold, how much is it mixed with other things, and stuff like that. So he's saying, they're saying here in musjat, this is the lowest quality money that we can offer. We have nothing left other than this, the lowest quality. Not just silver, but it's some silver with some other metals that are tied to it. We have absolutely nothing left other than this. Meaning, so again, what was the original meaning of it? To push away. This is the money that keeps on getting pushed down the pile. Right? Imagine like a big vessel, all the gold coins are on the top. This is what I want to use. Right? I want something expensive, I want to use this. And then, this is the bad lowly coin, let me put it back. Let me take the gold coin, let me take the gold coin. I'll put this other one back. And it keeps on getting pushed down until the very end, until you have to use it because there's nothing else left. This is the meaning of musjat. وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاتٍ. They describe their coins as worthless. Not that there's nothing left. There's only a few, and even what we have is very little. That's how they describe the wealth that they have. After they say this, okay, after they say, we have nothing to offer you, they say, فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلِ وَتَصَدَّقَ عَلَيْنَا. But please, give us the full amount of food that you would have given us anyway, and be charitable to us. And be charitable to us. Okay, what does that mean? فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلِ makes sense. They went all the way over there so that they could get food. Yeah? They can get food, they can get their camels worth of food. So we have nothing to offer you, but still, can you please give us our full share of food that you normally would have given us? And we understand that this is not what you want. We understand that this is not the amount of money or the not level of money. What would you say? This is not the amount of money, nor is it the Yeah, it's not. But what's the word? Like it's not the amount of money, nor is it the not value. Like level. I'm thinking level. I can't think of the word. Subhanallah. This is not the amount of money, nor is it the quality of money. That's what it's not. Nor is it the quality of money, not quality of gold that we could give you for this. But still, we want you to give it to us, and whatever discrepancy there is, tasaddaq alayna, then give it to us. Be charitable to us. Give us the extra. Overlook it. We understand that it's not enough, but we want you to overlook it. Okay, so here's a question. وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا, were they asking for charity? وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا. They say that to Yusuf alayhi salam. وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا. Give us sadaqah. Are they asking for charity? Maybe, okay, I see what you're saying. فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا. Fill it over for us and then give us the charity. And the meaning of the charity is that overlook it. But are they actually asking for charity, or what are they asking for? You think you know why? Excellent. Prophets are not allowed to ask for charity. So this is the question. Are prophets not allowed to ask for charity or not? So this is where the difference of opinion comes in for some scholars. But most of them are of the opinion that it's because of nubuwah, because of prophecy, that a person is not allowed to ask for charity. Like our Prophet ﷺ, he would accept gifts, but he would never ask for charity, or he would never accept charity. Okay, because prophets are not allowed to accept charity. So as a result, they say no, they weren't asking for charity. They're saying, just be kind to us, be nice to us, but we're still giving you the money in exchange for what it is. But there were some people that made the argument that this rule was specific to the Prophet ﷺ, that he could not take charity. But other prophets, they were allowed to. But majority say it's for all prophets, that you are not allowed to take charity. But they are not prophets. Oh, so this is a part that comes into it. Those who make the argument that they are not prophets, they say they're not prophets, so this is okay for them. But then the argument against that is very, very simple, very easy. The Prophet ﷺ was not allowed to take sadaqah, but neither were Ahlul Bayt even after him. So none of his family was allowed to take sadaqah. So even if they are not prophets, we believe that they are prophets. If not yet, then they are going to be, but still they're the sons of a prophet. Yaqub alayhi salam is a prophet. So they still would not be allowed to take it. He actually makes this argument very clear in his book. Like, if anyone says, but they're not prophets, they're still the son of a prophet. So they're still Ahlul Bayt for Yaqub alayhi salam. Were you going to say? He would not end up taking it? It depends. We don't know what would have happened in that situation, because as you'll see, the food at this point is no longer important after this ayah. Inna Allaha yajzil mutasaddiqin. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the reward for the one who gives the sadaqah, who gives the charity, okay, who generously gives. So they say tasaddaqa or tasadduq is to give charity, and mutasaddiq is the one who gives the charity. Okay, mutasaddiq is the one who gives the charity. Okay, now قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذ أنتم جاهلون قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي قد من الله علينا إنه من يتق ويصبر فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. The actual climax, right? All of that comes back now. He said, who's he? Yusuf alayhi salam. Have you now realized what it is you did to Yusuf and his brother back in your state of ignorance? They gasped. Is it you? Are you really Yusuf? He replied, I am Yusuf, and this is my brother. Allah has granted us favor. Anyone who maintains spiritual vigilance and perseveres will find that Allah never allows the reward meant for the doers of good to be lost. Okay. So Imam Razi continues on with that letter that he was talking about before. And he says when Yusuf alayhi salam read this letter, then he started to tremble. He started to shake. He had something from his father from decades ago. He started to cry. He started to cry a lot. And it was at this point that they believed that it was at this point that they started to have an idea that this was Yusuf alayhi salam. Then he asks a question. This question is not meant to be answered. It's a question that's rhetorical. هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذ أنتم جاهلون. It's a rhetorical question, meaning I want you to know how bad it was, how terrible of a thing it was that you did to Yusuf and his brother. I want you to know how vile it was. It's like the one Imam Razi makes the argument. It's like the one saying, so imagine that you see someone who is sinning against Allah. And so you go to them and you yell and you say, do you know who you disobeyed? Are they supposed to answer the question? No. It's a rhetorical question. It's supposed to make you think about the answer. So he says it the same way. Do you know what you did? Or if I change it a little bit. Do you have any idea what you did to Yusuf and his brother? You say it like that. That's the meaning of this ayah. Now if you're going to go all the way back to the very beginning of the surah, when Yusuf alayhi salam was thrown into the well, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal to him? لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا, and then وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. There's two ways to read this ayah, and this is one of the most beautiful things about the Quran. Like, you can have one meaning by reading it one way, and then another meaning just by stopping somewhere. لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا. You're going to tell them about this. Stop. وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. And they have no idea what is going on. So if you read it like this, وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ means they don't know that Allah is giving you wahi, ilham right now. They don't know that Allah is doing this. وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They have no idea that this is happening. But if you connect it together, لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ, then what does that mean? You're going to tell them, you're going to inform them while they have no idea about what is going on. The second way to read it is the way that this shows up right now. They have no idea that this was Yusuf. This is the third time that they're with him. Third time. The first time they went, the second time they went with Binyamin, and now this is the third time that they're coming back. The third time, they have no idea that this is Yusuf alayhi salam. So this is the meaning of that. Okay. هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه. Why does he add وأخيه? They didn't throw him into a well. He wasn't in slavery. None of that happened. They had dhulm over him. Okay, that's one opinion, yes. about him as well. In saraq, faqad saraqa akhun lahu min qabl. So this caused him what? Grief. This caused problems for him. It hurt his feelings. They were talking about Yusuf alayhi salam in a very bad way. And not just this is one situation. But even before this, what happened? They got rid of his brother. For 40 years or more, he had to live without his brother as a result. So that's why he says, Bi Yusufa wa akhi. Now, imagine us in that moment, for one moment, just 1 second. Imagine that we're there. All of this bad stuff has happened to me. I was snatched away from my family, thrown in a well, sold into slavery, thrown in jail for 12 years. All of this bad stuff has happened to me. And now when I'm finally able to say, this is what you did, and confront my oppressors, I say, what you did to me and what you did to my brother. But the brother lived with the family the entire time. He had his food at home. He was not a slave. He lived freely. He could do whatever he wanted. How much humbleness does it require for you to not make the whole thing about yourself? He thought about his brother's pain. He thought about someone else. Even though all of those bad things that we just mentioned happened, he still thought about his brother. This is the adab of the prophets. And you'll hear me say that one more time, inshallah. Then he ends off, إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Again, sorry, you'll hear it 2 more times. This is the verse. إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Why does he say that? While you were ignorant, while you didn't know any better. Let me give you a situation to think about for a second. You have a 8-year-old boy who comes to the masjid, and let's say it's Ramadan time. Everyone is praying Taraweeh, and he is all the way over here in the back, just playing with his friends. Okay, everyone is praying over there. And someone comes to the kid and he says, do you want to play? He says, okay. So they start playing with the soccer ball. And then they're playing one by one, going back and forth, until someone takes the ball and hits it into the wall, or like you see all of those holes in the wall. Someone's head goes right into the wall. So you know that some people are going to get very angry at that. They're making noise and this and that and all of that. What is the boy's father going to do? Or what are the old people in the masjid who just want the kids to be here? What are they going to say? Let them play. Why? Because they're just kids. Because they're just kids. Because they're just kids. That is what? That's a justification. Let them make the holes in the masjid because they're just kids. Kids don't know any better. إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Yusuf alayhi salam says, you have any idea what you did with Yusuf and his brother? إِذْ أَنْتُمْ, when you didn't know any better. I purposefully said the entire story again just to make this point. All of the trouble that he had, he didn't say, all of you are older than me. 12 brothers. There's 12 brothers. 10 of them are older than him. Then him, then Binyamin. 10 brothers. And these are the 10 that threw him in the well. All of them are older than him. And he says, إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. You didn't know any better at that time. Subhanallah. And this is one of those things. إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. When at that time you were jahil. At that time you were jahil. Meaning, right now you have changed. You are not like this anymore. SubhanAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us like them. He says, إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. and it takes all the shame away from them. Right now, one person makes a mistake, and what do we say to them? I gave you one job. I told you to do this one thing, and you couldn't even do this. They oppressed him for over 40 years, and he brushed everything under the rug. إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. How did they react after this? أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. Is it really you? Are you really Yusuf? They're shocked. They're shocked. Most of the qira'at that say this all have this one question around it. Some other recitations just say it as a statement. إِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. But most of them say this is a question. The brothers are still dazed. Standing there like, are you really Yusuf? How can this be? 40 years later, at least 40 years later. And we met you 3 times already and we had no idea. Yusuf alayhi salam, he responds to them, قَالَ أَنَا يُوسُفُ وَهَذَا أَخِي. I am Yusuf and this is my brother. After all of this time. But why does he say, this is my brother? Wouldn't the brothers already know? Yes, but they're all brothers still. He gave him the same mother, yes. But if he says, I am Yusuf, then by default, that would be his full brother. They would already know that. They're all related. He emphasizes that this is my brother, but it's also informational, right? So if he's saying this information to them, there has to be a benefit behind it. Oh, I like that. The father said, search for these two, and this is a response to that. That's a very good thought. I don't know anything that would suggest that Yusuf alayhi salam knows at this point that Yaqub has said that to them. That this is what their job is. Because like we said, the first thing that they did is go to Yusuf alayhi salam. They didn't actually go out and start searching. So how would Yusuf know? But that's a really good thought. Because the Quran does this a lot, where it's like a ring. It'll mention one thing here, and then again it'll come back in another way. Like the first time Yaqub alayhi salam made them promise that this is what's going to happen, and then they came back and said, we made a promise. But that's a small ring. Even in the bigger ring, they made a promise the first time, and then they failed. And then it comes back, they made a promise a second time, and no matter what, they were going to make sure that they did it. But so this is very good, because he says it at one time, and then it comes back. I didn't think about that. The audience? Oh, he was informing the other people. Yes. إِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. So there's one person, or they are saying, قَالُوا أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف قَالَ أَنَا يُوسُف وَهَذَا أَخِي. Maybe it was for other people, but the conversation is happening between the brothers and Yusuf alayhi salam. There's two things. There's two things that go into this. The first is the mentioning of wahada akhi is for Yusuf alayhi salam to further make them believe that he is Yusuf, by saying, this is my full brother and I know that. So if I know that, I have to be Yusuf. I have to be Yusuf. That's one. The second is, I want you to know that I am the one who you oppressed for all of this time, and as a result, my brother, he was also harmed for all of that time in the past. So this is the benefit of bringing up the brother again in this moment. But after he says that, he says, After he says that, قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِ وَيَصْبِرْ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Anyone who maintains, the way that they translate it is, anyone who maintains spiritual vigilance and perseveres will find that Allah never allows the reward meant for the doers of good to be lost. And let's talk about that very quickly. And then we'll end off with number 4, lessons from Yusuf's reply. إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِ. Yattaqi is anyone who is mindful and conscious that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching them. Anyone who continues to remember that Allah is always watchful over them, and the one وَيَصْبِرْ, the one who perseveres. Sabr is usually translated as patience, but patience often means to just sit there and do nothing. But that's not what sabr means. Sabr means to sit there and do nothing in certain times, maybe at the very first moment that a tragedy happens, but then you keep on going. It means that you don't complain, like we know of sabrun jameel, right? It means that you continue your hope with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means that you don't let something stop you or make you so incapable of doing anything just because something bad has happened to you. You continue to move forward, you continue to act knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is in charge of everything. So he says, مَن يَتَّقِ وَيَصْبِرْ. Whoever does these two things, the one that always remembers that Allah is watching them, and the one who keeps on going forward while maintaining their patience, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah will never allow the reward meant for the muhsinin, the people who do good, to ever be wasted. To ever be wasted. This is a small summary of Yusuf alayhi salam's whole life. Small summary of Yusuf alayhi salam's whole life. إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِ. When did he have taqwa? Imratul Aziz. Good. What else? How? Okay, but how did he have taqwa? Taqwa is the idea that Allah is always watching you. So you maneuver that way. He had the concept that Allah was watching him inside of the well. He had the concept of Allah watching him when he had the opportunity to fall for Imrat al-Aziz, but he didn't. He remembered Allah's ayat. He had the opportunity all the way at the very end around here to punish the brothers, but he didn't do any of that. He had sabr when his father told him, don't tell the dream. He had sabr when he fell in the well. He had sabr when he was put in the caravan. He had sabr when he was put into slavery. He had sabr when the Imrat al-Aziz tried to seduce him, and when all of the women cut their hands, and when he was falsely thrown into prison, and when his prison sentence was elongated for 12 years, and when he stayed inside of the prison until his name was cleared, and when after he came out he had to wait 1 year before he became the Aziz, and when his brothers came the first time, and when they came the second time, and when they came the third time until this point. All of this time is sabr. So he's not saying this out of a theory from some book that he read. This is from his own life. مَن يَتَّقِ وَيَصْبِرْ. Whoever remembers Allah, always knows that Allah is watching them, yarhamukallah, and has patience and perseveres, then Allah will never allow their good to be wasted. And what is the proof of that? He is the finance minister of all of Egypt. Okay, so here's a few things. Yusuf alayhi salam's entire reply, it has so many lessons for us. He says, قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي. One of the things about mentioning himself by his name is that when he said that, he magnified how much of a mistake the brothers made. He could have said, yes, I am him. Yes, I am him. But he said, Ana Yusuf. He said it very strategically because it magnifies all of the harm that they caused to him before by bringing his name back up. Yeah. No. Yeah, but none of the brothers' names are mentioned in the surah. Only Yusuf's name is mentioned. But this is when he says akhi, and whenever it's known, whenever the word like akhi is mentioned, it's always talking about Binyamin, or talking about Yusuf, but because Binyamin is the one being spoken to. No, but there would be no benefit of that right now. There's no benefit of that at this point. He says, وَهَذَا أَخِي. He's talking about Binyamin. Binyamin is still a prisoner. Remember, he's in slavery right now. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. He's talking about Himi, the finance minister, who you know what you did too, and my brother, who I kind of just turned into a slave. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah has favored us. He has given us His favor in this world and in the next. We have all of this from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of our patience, because of our taqwa, because of all of the good things that we have done, because of all of the hardship that we had to face as a result of your actions. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Then مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ. He's talking about I mentioned this part already, but he's mentioning all of the everything that happened in his life, and he's speaking this from personal experience. And then Allah ends it, or Yusuf alayhi salam, he ends it, he says, لا يضيع أجر المحسنين. And he used the word muhsin. So he starts off, مَن يَتَّقِ وَيَصْبِرْ. Okay, this is the description of those people. Those people who have taqwa and sabr. These two people, it could end, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَهُم. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَهُم. But it turns back around and it gives it almost a new characteristic. لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah does not allow the reward of the people who do good to go to waste. It could have ended off with, Allah doesn't, مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ. Whoever has taqwa and sabr, then Allah will not let their reward go to waste. But He didn't say their reward. He says the reward of the muhsinin, those who do good. Why? Because the word muhsinin, it encompasses everyone. It encompasses everyone. All of whatever can be considered a good characteristic in a Muslim falls into the word muhsin. All of the good falls into the word muhsin. So this way it's a way of bringing all of that back together. Okay, and then we'll end off with this inshallah. قالوا تالله لقد آثرك الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأت بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين. All right, 3 ayat. We'll go through them quickly because it's getting late. But this is essentially now the end of all of their hardship. قالوا تالله, we swear to Allah, لقد آثرك الله علينا, that He, Allah, has chosen you over us. وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. And we admit, we were the ones at fault. We are the ones who made a mistake back then. What are they apologizing for? Throwing him in the well, selling him into slavery. This is what they are apologizing for. We know what we did was wrong. وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. There's no doubt about this. We were wrong when we did this. This is an apology. Now, if you were going to make an argument that they were young, or that they didn't know better, or anything like that, then okay, let's say that they were young. Let's say that they didn't know any better. Why would they still say وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ? They didn't follow up when they got older. They could have told their dad. They could have gone to search for him. They could have gone to Egypt to get him back. They could have done anything. But all of that time went by and they didn't look for him. Now here's the question. Yusuf alayhi salam was how old when they got rid of him? 7. He has how many brothers? How many from the other mother? How many older? 10. He has 10 older brothers. What is the youngest age that the oldest brother would be? 17, 18 years old. If you want to think maybe the mother gave birth once every year, 17, 18 years old, which is still years after bulugh, after they're men at this point. So even at this point, it doesn't make sense that they were young. You can't just give them an excuse, oh, they were young, they didn't know any better. Because here's the question. If they were young and they didn't know any better, why did Yaqub alayhi salam let Yusuf go play with them in the middle of the field? That wouldn't make any sense. You're not going to trust your 12-year-old to drive your 7-year-old to the park, right? That doesn't make sense. So that means they had to be older. But still, despite that, Yusuf alayhi salam says, you were jahil at that time. You didn't know any better. And over here, they admit their mistake. وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. We were wrong. We admit that we were wrong. But when they say this, right? لَقَدْ آثَرَكَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very, very clearly, He has given you some kind of fadl over us. آثَرَكَ اللَّهُ. Allah has given you some kind of virtue over us, some kind of bounty over us. You are at a higher status and level than we are. We admit that. This is the 10 brothers who did all of that stuff to Yusuf. They're saying it to his face now. As they're essentially, in my words, they stand in front of Yusuf. Binyamin is next to him, and they say, "You're right." When he said, "Laqad manna Allahu alayna," they said, "Yes, you are right. Allah has preferred you over us. Allah has given you something that He did not give to us." And this is the meaning of that. So, like a person is athir. If you've ever heard the name athir, a person is athir when they are given preferential treatment. When they are given this special kind of, when they are given this special type of, like graciousness, attention, kindness, hospitality, something like that. So they're saying, لَقَدْ آثَرَكَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah has preferred you over with knowledge, with status, with money, with your position. All of this over us in this world and in the next world. And this is another time that this is another time where the scholars now get into a disagreement. Were they prophets at this time? Do they ever turn into prophets? This is a question that comes up. Why? لَقَدْ آثَرَكَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah has preferred you over us. But if they were all prophets, then there would be no preference one over another. This is one argument. But then it can just be said they were not prophets at this time. Okay, let's move on because we're getting very late. I'm sorry. I don't want to end here because this is the end of the story. So I'm sorry. We're gonna just finish really quickly. قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. Sorry. It's anticlimactic. I'm going to go back for 1 second. وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. There's only 2 times in the surah, in the entire surah, where the brothers admit that they're wrong. This is the first one. وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. The second one we'll cover, I think, next week, inshallah, if we can get to it, or the week after. Okay, so just keep that in mind. There's only 2 times that the brothers say that they admit that they did anything wrong. Okay. قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. What does tathrib mean? Tathrib means tawbikh. It means to rebuke. It means to make to shame someone else for something that they have done. So if a person does something wrong, it's said that you shame them, you make them feel bad for the things that they have done. So Yusuf alayhi salam, he says, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. There is no blame on you today. There is no shaming you today. There is no shaming you today. And there's 2 ways to understand this. When he says, so we'll take it all together. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. 2 ways to understand this. There is no shame, there will be no shaming you today. Meaning on this day, Thursday, October 30th, I'm not going to shame you. That's one way. Or you could take it for its more emphatic meaning. Because the way that the words are set up, it means forever. It gives the meaning of doing something forever. It means like there is no time restraint. There's no time restraint to this. Meaning, he says there's today, but what he actually means is there is no shaming you. You will experience no shame for what you have done ever. Not today, not tomorrow, never ever again. And the Prophet ﷺ, he walked inside of Mecca during the Fath, during the conquest of Mecca. He walked into the Kaaba, and the people, they were all looking at the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ, he turned to them and he said, "What do you think I'm going to do with you today? What do you think I'm going to do with you today?" So they replied, we don't think of you except good. We think that you're going to do something good. And remember, this was after about 20 years, 19 years of oppression, of wars and fights. People have died. So many people have died. His own family members have died. His closest companions have died in wars. His uncle has died. He was murdered. And he walks inside and he says the same thing. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. There is no blame. There is no blame upon you for anything that you have done. Okay. So this is the meaning of tathrib. Okay? And the word atharb You know what the word tharb is? Tharb is the fat. It's a layer of fat that covers the stomach. Tharb is a layer of fat that covers the stomach. So when he says la tathrib, it's the same word, tathrib alaykum al-yawm. He says you are all of your blame is covered. All of your blame is covered with an additional layer of this protection, just like the fat that protects the stomach. So you are completely encompassed, all of your faults are encompassed here, and no outside forces are going to have anything to do with it. You are completely covered. There's no shame, there's no blame, there's nothing upon you. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. And compared to what we come to afterwards, they say, قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا. He says, قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي. So they go back to their father. They go back to their father and say, can you seek forgiveness to Allah on our behalf for what we have done? He says, سوف أستغفر. I will at some time, at some point in the future, I will. Yusuf alayhi salam, right away, يغفر الله لكم. Some of the scholars in the past, they said, it's a lot easier to try to convince someone who is younger than someone who is older for anything. It is a lot easier to convince someone who is younger than someone who is older. Or trying to get something from someone who is younger, like asking them for a favor, than asking someone who is older. Okay. The word yawm. I mentioned earlier in the ayah, وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Depending on where you stop, it changes the meaning. Same thing goes here. قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. There's absolutely no blame. All of your mistakes will be covered. Okay? Today. All of them will be covered. Today, meaning today and from this day forward. يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. And Allah will forgive you for all of your mistakes. That's one way of reading it. Or you can say, قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمْ الْيَوْمَ يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. There's absolutely no blame upon you. All of your faults will be covered. Today, Allah will forgive you of your sins. Depending on where you stop, if you add the al-yawm in the first part or the second part, it changes the meaning. Al-yawma yaghfirullahu lakum. So that's just another added benefit of that. Yaghfirullahu lakum. Allah will forgive you for what you have done. This is a dua from Yusuf alayhi salam. I'm asking Allah to forgive you. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And Allah is the most merciful of those who have mercy. Or the way they translated, the most loving and caring of all. Okay. Now we end off in the last ayah. اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأتي بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين. Now take this shirt of mine. Yusuf alayhi salam gives them a shirt. And cast it over my father's face so that he comes to see. So that he comes to see, and bring your entire family here to me. All right. This is the third time that Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt is being mentioned in the surah. The first one, bidamin kadhib. Bidamin kadhib. The second time, same thing. He was ripped from the back. وَهُوَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Right? And then the witness was arguing, if it's ripped from the front, فَهُوَ مِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Again, kadhib. The first time, falsified blood on their shirt because of their lie. Yusuf alayhi salam's untorn shirt that a wolf ate, supposedly. Then, second part, the seduction. If it's ripped from the front or if it's ripped from the back. And it was ripped from the back because he was trying to run away. That's the second time the shirt is mentioned. Now the third and final time the shirt is mentioned in the surah, over here. Yusuf alayhi salam said, this is my shirt, take my shirt, throw it onto my father's face. Put it on my father's face. His eyesight will come back. Ya'ti basira. What does ya'ti basira mean? So there's two ways of understanding this as well, and the change is very subtle. The first is, in the opinion of those who said, if you remember from last time, some said he went completely blind, or some said that his eye vision became very weak and it was blurry. So ya'ti basira means you put it onto his face, and his eyesight will come back to him. His eyesight will come back to him. The others, they say, give this to him, and most people are going to say the meaning of this is that his eyesight will come back and it's strengthened. But here, ya'ti basira, the second understanding of what it could mean is, he will come to me, meaning he will come to Egypt while he can see. There's two ways of understanding it because the Arabic allows for it. فَأَلْقُوهُ عَلَى وَجْهِ أَبِي. يَأْتِي بَصِيرًا. Ya'ti could mean that his vision comes back, or it means that Yaqub comes, Ya'ti comes, basira, while he is able to see. He mentions first, wajhi abi. Then he says, وَأْتُونِي بِأَهْلِكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. What's the lesson there? He mentions his father first. I talked so much that the microphone died. He mentions his father first. He has so much love and respect for Yaqub alayhi salam, for his father. He cared for him, he preferred him, he took care of him, but only for those 7 years. He's lived for decades longer without him, but still, that love that he has for his father, it never went away, even though he was so far away from him. يَأْتِي بَصِيرًا وَأْتُونِي بِأَهْلِكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Bring your entire family to me now. Bring your entire family to me. How many people? This is the ayah I was talking about earlier. How many people are in the family? The mom, the dad, the families of the brothers, and servants. So, if you guess, how many people? Hundreds. So, the one opinion states that it was 70. Another is that there were 93 men and women. These are the two opinions. For how many people? So all of them, Yusuf alayhi salam brings all of them to Egypt now. He says, bring all of them. وَأْتُونِي بِأَهْلِكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Not just my family, but even your families. Bring all of your family to me. I will take care of all of you. This is the open definition of لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. He doesn't just say it. He says, after this, all of you come to me, all of your families, people I've never even met. Your children who I don't even know exist. Bring all of them to me. I will take care of all of you, and you will have this status here in Egypt now. Okay, a couple of things now just to end off. This is the last point now. Yusuf alayhi salam, he sent his shirt. First thing, who brings the shirt to Yusuf alayhi salam? To Yaqub alayhi salam. The oldest brother. Why? Okay, any other guesses? He's able to fulfill the oath from Allah. Okay, so he's willing to go back. Binyamin, why? So he would see both of them together. I like that. It was the oldest brother. Allah did give him the chance, opportunity to leave now, so his oath can be fulfilled. But this is again, remember what I mentioned earlier about the ring? He was the one who brought the shirt to the father in the first place with the fake blood. So now he's going to bring the shirt back to him in truth, telling the truth, bringing good news, not bad news. How did Prophet Yusuf ﷺ know that his father lost his sight? It's actually a very good question. He mentions it in the next ayah. لما فصل قال أبوهم إني لأجد ريح يوسف لولا أن تفندون. I think it's in لأجد ريح يوسف that he mentions it. He says there's only two possibilities for how Yusuf alayhi salam knew. The first one is that Allah gave him wahi and he informed him. The second is that he used his own, meaning the answer we don't know for sure. But the first is that Allah gave him wahi, which makes sense. The second possibility is that he used his naturalistic, he used his own intelligence, essentially. And he knew that Yaqub alayhi salam knew that this would end up happening, but he would miss him, so he would cry for a long time. And as a result, what would end up happening is that his eyes would grow weak because of all of the crying that he did. He says either one could happen, but we don't know for sure. Yeah. Yes. Oh, actually, he mentions it here for this shirt. Yeah, he says the Mufassirun mentioned that Yusuf only knew that putting the shirt would bring back the eyes because of wahi from Allah. And he says, other than that, there's no possible way that he could actually know. So you could make an argument that he did end up rationalizing it in some way, but it's weaker. But the default is going to be that he received the wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so we'll end off here, and next time will probably be the last time that we were talking about the actual story of Yusuf alayhi salam.
So, because you mentioned that when they grew older, they didn't search for Yusuf, right? Why not the other way around? Why did Yusuf didn't search for his father?
It's a good question. He mentions this as well. So he says he says that there's two possibilities. He says in reality, there's very little distance between where they are in Egypt and where they are in Canaan, where Yusuf is in Egypt and where Yaqub and the family are in Canaan. He says, take a couple of things into consideration. The first, this is the time of prophecy. So many things are happening around the world and everywhere that it's not impossible for you to believe that something was prohibiting the Yusuf and Yaqub from meeting. That's one answer. The second answer is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Yusuf, don't go and contact Yaqub alayhi salam by any means. This is not your job. Yaqub's test as a prophet is sabr throughout the entire thing. And Yusuf's test through the entire time was to also sabr, but to go through his trials. Yaqub's trial was to miss Yusuf. Yusuf's trial was to survive all of the difficulties that he had. So they both knew because of the dream that they're going to meet again. So it was not proper for them to meet one another in this world. And Imam Razi brings some very strange narrations. I don't know the authenticity of them, but at one point he was in Egypt, and Malik al-Maut came to him, and he says, "Are you here to take me?" He says, "No." He says, then he turns in the direction of Canaan, and he says, "How is my father doing?" or something like that. I can't remember the entirety of the narration. I didn't bring that up because there's no way of authenticating that. I don't know much about it, but there are some beliefs that he did inquire about his father and stuff like that. But if he did not choose to talk to him, it's because Allah prohibited him from doing so. Yeah, good, great questions, mashallah. Okay, any more? No. Easily. He's the Aziz, he's the finance minister of Egypt. And he has been for 8-9 years. That means he has so many connections by that point. He could have, but we have to believe that Allah told him not to do that. That's what makes the most sense. Okay. All right, so I'll end off there inshallah. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.